Hello friends. My name is Nirantar and I am very happy to present my first audiobook, the book, Words of God or Man. This book has been published in good faith that the work of the author is original. All efforts have been taken to make the material error-free. However, the author and the publisher disclaim the responsibility. No part of this book may be used, reproduced in any manner whatsoever without written permission from the author, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical articles and reviews. Dedication. I dedicate this book to my father, who has been an inspiration for me all the time. He has helped me a lot to develop scientific approach and logical thinking. This resulted in a habit of getting into deep inspection of a subject until I understand the same to satisfaction. He encouraged me to be fearless towards superstitions and follow traditions only after understanding the motive and benefits out of it. All this has helped me a lot during my recent past, when I started working on the sensitive subject of religion in a country which is passionate about it. This book is a tribute to him for his continued support. Preface. I belong to a small village in the southern part of India which has many small religious places of worship. People there were very religious in nature and used to strictly follow guidance in the matter of religion. Although at a young age I was not bothered much about all these, I became curious about these religious practices and beliefs at a later stage. I started reading books on subjects like God, spirituality, religion, and mythology. At the same time I had completed my engineering also, which motivated me to think about the whole subject from a scientific point of view. My struggle continued for a long time between the traditional belief system and the logical approach towards it. A couple of years back, when I was reading one of the religious holy book, an idea struck my mind. I realized that most of the religious books are produced to guide society towards humanity and social well-being. But the process followed to achieve this varied from time to time and place to place. I thought of comparing the contents of various religious books on some common parameters. It was difficult to compile common parameter from so many religious books and compare them with respect to their native time and place as well as with respect to the 21st century. Also, for readers it would have been boring to read such a vast book with repetition of the contents extracted from various books. Hence I decided to produce the contents of one of the religious books as it is, and then analyze the same with respect to its native place and time, with respect to other religious books on common parameters, and also with respect to the present time. That's how the journey of creation of an interesting tale started, and I am presenting to you the end result of the same in the form of this book. I hope that you will enjoy reading or listening it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Acknowledgements. The completion of this book would not have been possible without the support of so many honorable authors who have assisted me with their blessings and permissions to reproduce the contents of their writings. I would like to sincerely appreciate and gratefully acknowledge their contributions. I would also like to express my deep appreciation to all my family members, friends, and others who extended their support either morally, financially, or physically. I would like to offer special thanks to Google and Wikipedia for the services and contents offered by them respectively. Guidelines. For having a rich reading experience, I request you to have ready access to the internet while reading or listening to this book. The book contains many references to the links to the web pages which are freely available on internet. Because of certain limitations, we are unable to include all the contents available on those web pages. But I request readers to go through the contents of the web pages referred to, in order to get in-depth knowledge of the subject. Chapter 1. Hello everyone. It's been a long time since I had my last communication with you, almost 1400 years now. So I thought of having some interaction with all of you again. During my last birth, I had shared with you plenty of knowledge, which has benefited mankind enormously. Obviously nothing is perfect in this world, and some people have suffered for the benefit of the majority. Overall it was a satisfactory journey. This time also I have a major task in hand. The world is in a mess and my teachings have been misused very badly to escalate the situation further. Hence I have decided to take up the challenge of changing the world again, with the help of the same book, which has served mankind for a long time. Since the book has been written in tablet form and secured by God, I am confident that the contents of the book would not have changed. Let me review the whole book to see if it still holds any relevance with respect to the modern-day multicultural and knowledge-oriented society. During the process, I will touch upon every aspect of the contents of the book. Verse 1. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Nowadays everyone knows about God. He has become so famous that even a person who has nothing to do with religion knows him, or at least presumes so. But it doesn't make any difference. Since we don't have knowledge of even 1% of this universe, we can safely assume that there must be a power which is driving this whole universe. Since neither you nor I have any knowledge of that driving force, although I claim that I met him in heaven, we can call him by any name: God, Bhagwan, Allah, Ishwar, Rab, Atman, Christ, Triunity, causeless cause, universe consciousness, etc. Also, as the nature of that power is not known, we may characterize him as beautiful, peaceful, powerful, bright, dark, long, short, etc. I understand that you are more interested to know what value addition he can do for you irrespective of his own nature. Of course, a human being is also selfish like any other creature. So I described him as gracious and merciful, which would offer you some degree of comfort and security. Since nature is very harsh and follows its own law which we are unaware of, we are comfortable with a God who would act as per our wish. At least we can assume so. http://www.historiaofjihad.org/ has expressed the following view on the name of the God. Why Muhammad chose Allah as the only deity in Islam. Pre-Islamic Bedouin Arab society was highly matriarchal, as is evident from the worship of many goddesses like Alat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. But Arab society had strong patriarchal elements too, as evident in the naming tradition according to which every Arab is known by his father's name, and not his mother's. Having lost his father, the posthumous orphan Muhammad wanted to perpetuate his father's memory. His father's name Abdallah was conjugated from Abdallah, which translates as slave of Allah. This is the reason why Muhammad chose Allah, among the many pre-Islamic Arab deities, to be the only deity to be worshipped by the Muslims. Not many historians have discerned this fact, why it was Allah who became the centerpiece of Islam, and not any other pre-Islamic Arab male deity, like Baal, Baal-Saman, Abgal, Aglabal, Wad, and Yaith. The last two are in fact referred to in the Quran chapter 71 verse 23 as gods of the era of the Prophet Noah. Even Baal, alternatively known as Hubal, who in fact was the most important deity in pre-Islamic Mecca, found no place in Islam. Only Allah survived in Muhammad's Islam. So Allah did not choose Muhammad, it was the other way round. Muhammad chose Allah. Allah was chosen by Muhammad, as his father was named after Allah. Some historians identify Hubal and Allah to be the same deity. But, to the best of our knowledge, no historians have discerned this fact, why it was Allah who became the centerpiece of Islam. Verse 2. All praise is due to God, the Lord of the universe. Verse 3. The beneficent, the merciful. Verse 4. Lord of the day of judgment. It is human tendency to be happy when someone praises him and unhappy when somebody scolds him. There are various reasons for which one person praises another. Sometimes these reasons are genuine, sometimes they are motivated by some personal goal. Whatever be the case, a person who has been praised feels happy irrespective of the cause behind it. Also, happiness varies depending on the standard of the appreciation. For example, getting praise from a higher authority, superior, well-known personality, the masses, etc. brings more happiness. Now let us look at the other aspects of praise. It's very difficult for a person to praise another person for genuine reasons, because it hurts his own ego. Genuine appreciation comes only when a person is very much convinced about the other without any doubt. Most of the times a person appreciates another to make him happy. In general, a person tries to please others only when it has something to do with himself. For example, parents would praise their child, a servant would praise his master, a worker would praise his superior, an election candidate would praise his voters, etc. All these appreciations involve motives behind them, good or bad. So praise is part of human life, and we all know the importance of it. So why not apply the same logic to God as well? Why not assume that God must be feeling happy with praise? Since we all are bound within human emotions, let us bind God also with the same emotion. Let him also be happy. But how to make him happy? Let us see what we do in our society. Does a millionaire get pleased with gifts? He can buy hundreds of such gifts. Then what is it that would make him happy? Any guess? Yes. You are right, it's praise. Just praise him in front of a few people, and see the effect. You will become special for him in no time. The reason behind this behavior is our ego. Ego demands status, respect, honor, etc. Since this is what we know from our experience, let me apply this to God also. God has to be like us only. Even if there is anything beyond that, why should I break my head? Let me fit God within my scope of knowledge. But still, why should we praise God? Remember that He is the creator of this world, and hence He is almighty and powerful. Let us praise Him and get benefits out of it. We are all going to die sooner or later. A big unanswered question remains, what after death? Even I don't know the answer. But as a good human being, I wish that every human being live a peaceful and satisfied life before facing death. That can be achieved only when there is harmony and peace within the society. To make it happen, every person has to maintain certain degree of truthfulness and fairness towards others in his journey of life. But as we all know, every creature on this earth has to fight for survival and also be selfish at times. It applies to humans also. We not only fight to survive, but go beyond that to fulfill our greed. There are only two things which can control this human greed: the deterrent of punishment for bad act and the offer of prize for good. But who would decide what is good and what is bad? Our judiciary system is based on proof and knowledge of the subject. It's impossible to have a foolproof mechanism to differentiate between good and bad. So let me present a super solution to this, that is God. As we have already accepted that He is Lord, creator of this whole world, let Him only decide on good and bad people. Now there is one problem: He is not our paid employee to sit for hearing every day. So we need to decide some predefined time frame for Him to give His judgment. Let us be reasonable and leave it to Him when He wants to sit for judgment. There are a couple of options available: during our lifetime or after death. I would prefer it to happen during our lifetime itself, but even if it happens after death, that also should be fine. Verse 5. You alone we worship, and to you alone we turn for help. Worshipping God is very common throughout the history of human beings. This is not applicable to animals and other creatures. Let us see why this worshipping has come into existence. The human being is a very weak creature at the time of birth and requires prolonged time to become strong when compared to other animals. Hence survival was very tough for humans during the primitive period of the evolution. During that period of struggle, he also realized that many changes keep on happening to himself and around him. Some are regular in nature and some are not so regular. Also, there were some incidents which would happen only once in a blue moon. He was not able to understand most of these changes or incidents because of his limited knowledge of nature. Nevertheless, he adapted to those changes and learned from the incidents to continue his journey for survival. That was the first priority. The rest were all secondary. But unlike other creatures, once he had crossed the stage of survival, he started monitoring nature more closely and started doing analysis of those changes and incidents. During this process, he realized that some changes and incidents were very straightforward, like everything falls down to earth from any height. But some were very surprising, like sunrise and sunset. Since he did not have any means to find the root cause of these surprising natural process, he started to look for justification for the same. Simplest of that was, there must be some superpower, more powerful than animals and humans, must be doing all this. Once this has been agreed upon, there must be some way to convince that power to make changes in nature more favorable to humans. Please remember that animals try to adjust to natural changes rather than trying to interfere with it. As human tendency goes, the simplest way of convincing somebody is plead with him. That's how the concept of worship has evolved, out of fear and selfishness. Now let us come to our discussion on God worship. People need help during various phases of life, right from birth, when someone has to cut the umbilical cord, till death, when he is expecting peace. Many a time we struggle to get help from our fellow human beings because of various reasons, deliberate or compulsion. Hence we want someone to be always there to help us whenever required. I feel that God would be the right choice for this job. Anyway, he doesn't have any other job to do. In fact, he need not. But why would he help us? Simple, because he is merciful and gracious. He may show his mercy on cat and dog. Why on us? Now comes the trick: worship him and get all his favors, as and when required. Please remember, other animals can't get his favors since they can't pray. It's meant only for humans. Verse 6. Guide us to the straight path. Verse 7. The path of those you have blessed, not of those who have incurred your wrath, nor of those who have gone astray. There is a great debate going on for thousands of years on what is right and what is wrong. Every human being has his own ideas on right and wrong. Most of the people feel that whatever they are doing is right with their own justification for that action. But same action may be considered wrong in the eyes of another person with his own justification. A third person may feel that action is partially wrong with his own justification. So the same action can be viewed differently by different people from their own perspectives. This would result in a situation wherein everyone feels that only his justification holds true. Now the question arises, what is true and right? I believe that there is nothing called absolute right or absolute wrong. Everything is relative. The same action is considered right or wrong depending upon the situation in which that action is conducted. For example, a serial killer killing 10 people in a row is wrong. At the same time, a judge sentencing 10 criminals to death is right, because the first action would create havoc in the society, and the second would benefit the society. Right and wrong depend on many criteria like situation, education, knowledge, status, background, culture, etc. For nature there is nothing called wrong and right. Every action has dividend, and for every effect there is a cause. Nature is least bothered about our views of right or wrong actions, and continues with its dividend calculation. We can just prepare ourselves to accept that dividend, irrespective of whether we feel it right or wrong. Also, we don't have any inside source to get the secrets of nature. We are not able to take a unanimous decision on what is right and wrong. Also, we don't understand the functional secrets of nature. So our only best bet left is Mr. God. Since he is Lord of the whole world, he must be knowing what is right and what is wrong. We are in safe hands. At least let's hope so. Hence let us not fight on right and wrong, let him only guide us. Since we have appointed God to guide us, it's our responsibility to obey him. After all, he has not come to us begging to make him our guide. It is we who made him guide, and we don't have any moral right to displease him by not obeying his guidance. End of chapter 1.